All right, Section B, work on wooden freight cars. Operations involved with a similar repair job frequently performed on boxcar. Insill renewal, with reference for the American Standard boxcar body sketch. Body sketch will help to explain the details of the job. See page 31. Many of the cars sent to the shop repairs accounted for the broken sills. Carmen assigned with the work is required to remove the carrying iron, lower the caliper 98 and number 89, and the many of the draft timbers 97, number 73. The after bracing up the center of the side sill to prevent the car from bending down. At the middle, he takes off the truss rod nuts, number 86. On that, the end of the car, he also removed the dead block wood, number 84, with the two bottom corner bands. Loosens the two central corner bends. He removed the end of the sill dragons grab irons, number 222, on the end of the car. He removes the uncoupled levering, number 96, with a casting with the number 97 with a hole in the to the car. He removes the nuts from the four tie-down rods, loosens the end of the sheeting of the sets. From the details, he loosens the side lining of the corner post. He forces the end still out of 3 inches in order to clear the tension of longitudinal sills, and with a sludge drives the end still down, causing it to fall into the ground. And an end sill is on the ground, with he cleans all the nails from it and in cases where it is broken in two, he generally fastens both tightly together and then sends the sill into the mill as a sample. When the new end sill returns to the mill, and it's generally necessary for the carman to engineer, enlarge and deepen the wooden chisel with the more G's of the longitudinal sill with the bore the shallow holes from the post coat cast iron lugs. He places all the parts together in order to have them remove them. All right, figure 15 shows a badly damaged sill. Way to parts handled. A carman is required to handle all the materials, parts of the coat, and the making of the car. Some of the material and parts with extremely heavy body bolster weighs approximately 750 pounds must be raised from the ground in order to apply the car. A longitudinal size sill 5 inches by 9 inches, by a 40-foot long, which is usually on the sizes applied. The sizes applied to box cars weighs about 560 pounds. The heavier the parts of the cars that apply to the bottom of the means, but that all the lifting must be done with the man crouched in a hampered position under the car. The particular area with the car with the couplers, draft, and timber sill splices must handle, and because of the majority of the cars and freight that we sent to the shop are sent there for defects of the part of the carman, the weight of the workman of the car, weight of the work of the carman has been performed. The illustrated by full description of the work necessary in splicing the center sill of the wooden boxcar, reference of the American Standard boxcar body sketch, which will help to explain the duties of the job. See page 31. Splicing and center sill. A center sill number 52 on the sketch is found to be decayed or broken is to be found with the possible, however, the side of the most of the long sills. Orders given to the carman to insert the splice. To do this, required to jack up the car and set it on the horses. The first brings the four of the horses to the side of the car and set them near the ends on each of the side of the car. Then he blocks the wheels of the truck at one end of the car in order to then that when the jacking up of the other end of the car will not move. The jack is set with either side of one end of the car so that it will be raised and it will come directly under the side sill. Usually a small block of wood is placed on the top of the jack stand and has been found to ensure a better purchase for the side sill. In setting the jack before the raising of the car, the mechanical must first see that the is perfectly straight and that is still flat ground on wooden block. The carman one side of the car has his partner on the other operated with the jack lever simultaneously so that they're raising from one of the side of the car faster than other will be avoided when the car is at a sufficient height so that the horses can be placed under the truck is rolled out from under the car. The rear wheels of the truck, however, are left so that they can extend under the end of the car until such a time as the horses have been securely into the car into position. These keep the car from falling into the ground, and of one of both of the jacks might slip before the horses were placed in the position to hold it. After the horses are set, the truck is rolled out of the way, and the car is lowered a few inches so that the set is weight on the horses. The operation is repeated at the other end of the car. The car removes the coupler number 6092 with the drafting timbers number 73. It must be understood removing the nuts with the drafting timber bolts of the carman must kneel with his side under the car, then use the heavy sledge to drive the draft timbers. Timber bolts of the floor of the car with the rust sometimes binds them into the timbers, which makes it a heavier job. That is, say, the fact that the bolts are rusted in often requires the pounding for a long time in the cramped position before they can be loosened. Handling a sludge for a long time under these conditions is very hard work. Figures 16 shows the box car, and of course the construction. Note the jack is underneath the sill. He then sets the jack on the brace underneath the center of each of the set of the sills to prevent them from slagging, which loosens up the truss of the rods to move the body bolster number 62, which job requires the removing approximately 16 heavy bolts. The bolts, in the case of the adjusted with the metal bolster, which requires the greater of the deal with the more heavier work than loose, and the metal rusting into the machine. Metal rusts into metal much harder than it rusts into the wood. The bolster weighs approximately 750 pounds, and care must be taken in letting it down so that they are not to injure anyone. Usually, the removal of about 3 feet of the car floor is necessary to affect the splicing. Approximately the side of the center splice involved with the 5 inch of the 9 inches by 10 feet or wide at 160 pounds. In the larger shop of the splice is generally brought to the side of the car and material men, but in the small shop of the freight carman is compelled to go to the lumber pile, possibly a distance of an ordinary city block or more, to get this beam, and he and his partner have to carry it in that distance to the car before they can begin to work on it. The MCB rules of sill splicing. It may be said to passingly apply with the splice for the car, but the carman must be acknowledged of the MCB rules and requirement to prepare with the car. In the case of the MCB rules, requiring all the center sill splices must be made between the body with the bolster number 64 and the cross member number 57. The MCB rules also give the distance from the body bolts of the cross-tie timber of the splice must be made. The rule in the sketch shows clearly how to actually splicing is effected. Figure 9b shows all bullets in 5/8 of an inch diagram making a center sill splice. We quote Rule 22 for the MCB rules. Draft timbers must not be spliced. Longitudinal sills may be spliced at both ends. The splicing of any of the sills between the cross-tie members will not be allowed. The splice may be located either side of the body bolster, but the nearest point of any of the splice must not be within 12 inches of the same exemption. Center sill with which must be spliced between the body with the bolster, cross-tie member, but not within 24 inches of the body bolster. Splicing longitudinal sill is other than center sill is the same area or less than 12 inches in depth. The plan shows either figure 8 and 9C shall be followed. If the sills are 12 inches or more in depth, the plan show in figure 9 or 9C shall be followed. The immediate sills are spliced between the body bolster, cross-tie, and the splice must be reinforced as figure 9A and 9B, and splicing center sills with the plan shown on figure 9B shall be followed. The size of the horizontal cross bolts shall be 5/8 of an inch. Sill and foreign cars shall be spliced as above provided. Cars delivered in an interchange with center sill splice in accordance with the figure 9A will be accepted. Alright, your attention is again called to the fact that almost every car with the contains requires some foregoing repairs. That it will be understood with the knowledge of MCB rules that the carman must have the performing of the job is also required for the repairing any part of the car within MCB rules requires the standard method of repairing mistakes, often due to the inexperience. There are instances where center sill splice is milled with the holes bored with the wrong place for the drafting timber bolts. Their experienced carmen also measure the location of these holes before applying the splices. These have been the cases where the inexperienced man has put these splices into position before the measuring of their holes from the different timber bolts. In such a case, was ready to apply with the draft timbers and confronted with the problem where they split, shall bore additional new holes in the correction location of the splice, remove it, and getting a splice that is milled correctly. The sum of the tool of the time required to remove the splice applied with the correct one would be perhaps 1/2 a day. The boring additional holes for the draft bolts is very poor car practice and is not allowed in best shops, as it weakens the sill and where it strengthens it must be needed. Mistakes to this kind sometimes cause a great deal because of the car concerned with not sufficiently advanced in construction to be allowed to be switched. The cars in which the repairs have been completed and which are behind on the track can be pulled out of service. Section C, steel car repairs.